Hello, welcome to Screen Talk with yours truly, and I'm Fanel Malloy. So before I begin, I do like to remind you if you like to support me and the channel and all that stuff, you could visit my Buy Me a Coffee link, which is in the description if you'd like to donate through Buy Me a Coffee or join my membership where I will share some sneak peeks of any upcoming work that I have. Also, too, if you guys out there, create your own videos out there and looking for platforms to use, consider Riverside, which I am using myself. So you could sign up for that through my affiliate link in the description. All right. So, yesterday, the nominations for the Oscars were announced. I watched that live on YouTube, and I would say overall, like watching the nominations was fun because I liked Zazie Beetz and Jack Quaid. They were quite energetic as the host, which kept me awake throughout that ceremony. So, in terms of like my overall thoughts on nominations itself, I'm happy overall for the nominations. Of course, there were some surprises and snubs, which I will get into when I break down the categories. But overall, I'm quite excited this time. I think because I've seen most of the films that are being considered, so which that helps. And yeah, let's just get right into the categories themselves now. Before I begin, I do want to stress that I will not talk about the shorts categories and the documentary categories because I have not seen most of those movies that were nominated, but I do want to congratulate the nominees for those categories. So let me share my screen where I talk about the nominations. So first, I'll start off with visual effects. So here's the noms on the screen here. So I was surprised that Poor Things was not nominated because out of like the movies that were nominated for Best Picture that were being considered for this category, I thought Poor Things would have made it in. And I'm still upset that Oppenheimer was snubbed for this category. I mean, that could be a different video for another day. But yeah, like in terms of the nominees in this category, I'm not too surprised. But I was glad that Godzilla minus one got in because when I was watching the nomination ceremony, seems the people in the room were very thrilled that was nominated, and I'm sure with that one will be the most likely contender for to win in that round. I have no idea what I'm saying, but yeah, I hope Godzilla minus one wins for this category. So next, so I will talk about the crafts first, the crafts category. So let's go to sound. So yeah, not too surprised. I was kind of surprised that Ferrari did not make it because that seemed to be in consideration. But happy for the nominees. And if I were to choose who I'd like to win in this category, it would be Oppenheimer, obviously. So, next category, let's go to production design. So, again, not too surprised, but I was kind of surprised that Napoleon got a bit more nominations than expected because I think a lot of people figured that based on the performance of that movie, that it was going to be ignored. But congratulations on that film for their, I believe it's four nominations they got here. So in terms of production design, it seems like Barbie is the front runner for this one, but don't rule out Poor Things or Oppenheimer. So we'll see what happens there. Uh, makeup and hair. So yeah, not a lot of surprises here. Um, who do I think will win? It seems like my show is seems to be the front runner in this category. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on that take because of the controversy with the prosthetics that Bradley Cooper used in this movie. But I mean, we shall see if that's it'll able to overcome that. But yeah, don't rule out Poor Things or Oppenheimer. I have not seen Golda or Society of the Snow at the time of this recording, but congratulations to all the nominees here. Let's see. Film editing. So I was surprised that The Holdovers was nominated here because seems like out of it seems like the films, for the most part, in this category, like are quite showy in terms of the editing in various ways. But I would say Oppenheimer, yeah, like for me, hands down, the winner in this category. Um, if I were to choose another upset, maybe Poor Things could take it. I'm not sure if Killers of the Flower Moon could take this one because there were some complaints about the pacing and the length of this movie. I've not seen Anatomy of a Fall, but but some people point out that the editing is quite good in that movie. So next up, costume design. So yeah, I saw some people were upset that Oppenheimer got nominated here, and I was not surprised because it did make it into the guild nominations there, and I think people are surprised because it's not like the most showy costumes compared to the other nominees in this list. So I mean that could work to its advantage here, or it could be a disadvantage depending on how they look at it. So if I were to choose a winner, probably Poor Things because I thought the outfits there were quite exquisite. Barbie maybe could take it, but again, I don't know. So, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. And let's go to cinematog. No, not that one. Cinematography. So here, the nominees match the ASE picks for that one. So not too surprising. Um, yeah, I would say yeah, Oppenheimer is the front runner in this category. But it could go either way, either Poor Things or Killers or maybe Maestro. I have not seen El Conde, so I can't comment on that film. But congrats to the nominees on that front. And let's get into the music categories. Let's start with score. So I was surprised with the American Fiction nomination because that's a very jazzy score, but congrats to Laura Carpman for the nom. I have not seen Indiana Jones with the latest one. I've heard mixed to negative reactions to that movie, but I guess I'm not too surprised that it got nominated here because it's John Williams. So I think yeah, Oppenheimer is the front runner in this category, but it could go to Killers of the Flower Moon, or who knows, maybe John Williams will take this one. We'll have to wait and see there. But congrats to the noms. Original song. This one's interesting. So two songs from Barbie got nominated. So I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For. So even though like that was expected, it might be a possibility that those could cancel each other out, and maybe one of those other nominees could take it. Maybe the song from Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe, or John Batiste with the song for American Symphony. Which, yeah, congrats to John Batiste because I really liked American Symphony when I watched that on Netflix. I was surprised that got snubbed for a documentary feature. I have not seen Flaming Hot nor listened to the song, but I guess congrats to Diane Warren, who always seems to get in pretty much every year. So if I were to choose who should win this one, I would choose What Was I Made For, because I preferred this Billie Eilish song than with the one she won the Oscar for, which was the James Bond song No Time to Die. I was not a fan of that song, but yeah, I see Billie Eilish winning this category. But again, it could go either way here. So next, I want to get into let's get into the writing categories. So adapted screenplay. Um, so I know some people were upset that Barbie was considered adopted as opposed to original. I wasn't too surprised because it is technically based off an IP, and even though other award shows consider Barbie under original, yeah, I'm not surprised the Academy went on a different direction. So it could hurt Barbie's chances of winning here, or maybe it could help. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, and some were upset that Killers of the Flower Moon got snubbed here. I think at the end of the day, if Barbie was not moved in this category, I'm sure Killers would have easily get nominated here. But I think what hurted Killers of the Flower Moon is that it deviated a lot from the original source material. Because if you know the backstory on that, essentially Leonardo DiCaprio was going to play the lead investigator from the FBI to investigate the murders, essentially. But then they decided to change it, where we focus on the characters from the town and all that stuff. And I think that hurted Killer's chances of getting nominated here ultimately. And I think too there were some issues with the structure, and there were complaints about the lack of focus on the Native American characters and all that stuff. So now, who do I think will win? Like, it could be anybody's guess. I would say it's between Oppenheimer and American Fiction. I'm not sure Poor Things, could take it because, it's quite divisive for some people. Um, Again, Barbie, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I say it's between Oppenheimer and American Fiction. So let's get into original screenplay. So, not too surprised with this category. I was hoping for Air to get nominated, but the chances for Air to get in were very slim, just based on its performance during award season. Um, I would say for now it's probably between Anatomy of a Fall and The Holdovers, maybe Past Lives. But I would say with those two in particular, just based on the reception and all that stuff. And I think Anatomy of a Fall has the edge because it won the Golden Globe for screenplay. But we'll have to just wait and see. And then I'll get into the acting categories. I'm going to start with supporting actress. So there was a surprise here with America Ferrera being nominated for Barbie. So I guess the speech in that movie really resonated with the members. So yeah, and I was hoping for Penelope Cruz to get nominated for Ferrari, but that movie was largely ignored by the Academy. Um, I was kind of surprised, but ultimately not surprised that Daniel Brooks was nominated for The Color Purple, just based on the performance of that movie during award season. But yeah, congrats to all the nominees here. So it seems like Divine Joy Randolph is going to take it, but I wouldn't rule out a surprise in this category because we'll have to wait and see what happens with SAG and the other award shows, but it seems like yeah, Divine Joy Randolph is going to take this one for now. Supporting actor. So here's the nominees here. Yeah, I was surprised but glad that Sterling K. Brown got in for American Fiction. I thought he did a good job in that movie. Um, Mark Ruffalo got in over Willem Dafoe. I guess I'm ultimately not surprised because his performance is the more showier one, and I guess he has a lot more screen time compared to Willem Dafoe. Um, Now, in terms of the win, I think yeah, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer is going to take this one, but it could go to Ryan Gosling or anyone from this category. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, the leading actor and actress category is interesting. So, I'm gonna get into actress first. So, I think Annette Bening was a surprise nomination. I have not seen that movie, but I've heard mixed reactions with that one. I know there were many wanted Margot Robbie to get nominated. I wasn't too sure if she was going to get in. I would have been happy if she did, but I guess I'm not too surprised that she wasn't nominated here. Um, so I I see the win either it could go towards Lily Gladstone or it could go to Emma Stone. Those two seem to be the front runner, or it could go to Sandra Hüller because with that movie's performance during award season. So I say those three, are the could go either way with the win here. For me, I would choose Emma Stone for Poor Things because I thought she did a great job in that movie. So I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall, so I cannot comment on that movie nor the performances. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with SAG and BAFTA. Now, leading actor. This one is interesting as well too. So this one matched the SAG nominations, so not too surprised. I know some were upset that Leonardo DiCaprio did not get nominated for Killers of the Flower Moon. At the end, I was not too surprised because people point out that during campaigning, he was focusing more on Lily Gladstone as opposed to himself as the lead character. So, in terms of the win, I would say it's between either Killian Murphy for Oppenheimer or Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. For me personally, I would choose Killian Murphy for Oppenheimer because he is essentially the movie of that one. Uh, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with SAG and BAFTA. But I saw like a reaction video. I can't remember what channel it was, but they pointed out that it could mirror the Best Actor race that happened back in 2016 between Denzel Washington and Casey Affleck, where Denzel I believe he won. I think it was for Fences. Yeah, one for Fences at SAG, but Casey Affleck he won for Manchester by the Sea with the Oscar. So it could happen. Yeah, maybe Paul Giamatti wins SAG, but then Killian he wins the Oscar, or it could be reversed, or it's possible that Paul Giamatti would sweep the rest of the awards, or Killian Murphy could sweep for the rest of the awards. We'll just have to wait and see, but congratulations to all the nominees in this category. So I'm going to leave directing last because there's some interesting conversations happening there. So I want to get into the feature categories, starting with international film. Now, I have not seen any of these movies on the list. I want to say congrats to the nominations here. So France's selection. So France, they decided to choose the taste of things to be considered for this category. It ultimately did not get in. Now, I saw somewhere on Twitter someone pointed out that it's due to politics is why France chose Taste of Things over Anatomy of a Fall. It's possible. Again, who knows? But I'm sure France must be regretting that decision now. That since their selection didn't get nominated. So, because I think if Anatomy of a Fall had that been selected instead, I'm sure it would have easily been the front runner. But again, I'm sure any of these films could win in this category. So I would say for now, it's probably between the Zone of Interest, since that has gotten more nominations out of the films in this list. Or it could go to Society of the Snow because I hear that's a great movie. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I think at some point I do want to make a video where I talk about the international feature category itself because there is some discussion to be made in terms of the selection process with that film compared to the rest of the categories for the Oscars. So, next, I want to get into animated feature film. So, the nominees here. So, the surprise pick is Robot Dreams. And I'll be honest, I was not too surprised with that pick because with the Oscars, they'll tend to choose a very obscure pick that probably a few have seen, and this time it's Robot Dreams. Now, I really want to check out this movie since I've heard about it at the Toronto Film Festival. I believe Neon is distributing this movie. I know Elevation Pictures is distributing in Canada. So like when are we going to see this movie? Because I saw the trailer, like I was sold by the trailer. I was also curious by the reactions during its festival run. So like when is this movie going to be released? Now back to the nominations here. So it looks like it's going to be between Spider Verse and The Boy and the Heron. I know people are hoping for Spider Verse to win. I think what will work against this movie is, for one, it's a sequel. They tend not to award animated sequels, except for Toy Story. I don't remember which one. It might have been three or four, one of those. Also, too, what could work against it is if you remember the controversy regarding the treatment of the animators behind the scenes. I think that could also hurt this movie's chances as well too, and also too because it's a part one essentially because it ends on the cliffhanger. So again, we shall see what happens. So for me, if I were to choose a winner, I would go with The Boy and the Heron because that was one of my favorite movies that came out in 2023. So, and possible too, like they may award it to Miyazaki because it may or may not be his last movie. I don't know what's the situation on that front, but we shall see what happens. Now let's get into Best Picture. So here's the nominees. So we have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. So essentially, they matched the PGA picks 10 for 10. I don't know like if this is the first time it happened, but if that's the case, I guess congratulations on that front. I know some people wanted the color purple to be nominated. I was not convinced that was going to happen, based again on its performance during award season, and I think also to all that noise surrounding the behind the scenes stuff. I think that also hurted its chance as well too. Plus, I've heard mixed reactions about the movie. I have not seen the movie, so I cannot comment on that front. So, in terms of who I think will win, I say Oppenheimer is a front runner right now. Um, But what could I think other movies are in consideration. American Fiction, I could see that happening. Anatomy of a Fall, because international and all that stuff. The Holdovers, probably, or Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe. Or it could be Poor Things because it got the second most nominations because Oppenheimer has 13, Poor Things has 11. So we shall see what happens, and congratulations to the nominees. Now, let's get into the best directing because there's been a lot of talk in this category. So we have Justin Trier for Anatomy of a Fall, Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. So we got two international picks selected for directing. I'm not too surprised with this selection. I know many people were upset that Greta Gerwig did not get nominated for Barbie. So I think what happened is because I think Barbie, I'm sure according to some of the members or most of them, is that it's a very populist movie, similar to Top Gun Maverick, which was being considered last year at the Oscars. So yeah, I think it's mainly because of that. I don't think it's because of gender and all this stuff. Because if it was because of gender, like Justine Trier would not be nominated. It would be, I'm sure, another male director. Um, but yeah, at least Greta Gerwig was nominated as a writer in the adapted screenplay. Um, so yeah, I think Nolan is likely going to take this one, but again, we shall see what happens here. And before I jump off, I do want to share this thread I saw on Twitter once I go to the different screen, because this one was interesting in terms of talking about the Barbie snubs. So here's what Miles Hughes says here. It talks about a thread about the Barbie snubs from someone who follows Oscar's race. He says, for context, love the movie. Not here to tell anyone why they should or shouldn't be upset, but some of you desperately need perspective on what actually happened. So, Barbie received 8 nominations, including Best Picture, making it one of the most nominated films of the year. It made over $1 billion at the box office and was, yeah, essentially the highest grossing movie that came out last year. Oscars don't exist to reward the biggest financial successes of the year. That was what the new Golden Globe for box office achievement is for. Which honestly, when they decide the Golden Globes announced that category, that was hilarious. But yeah, I don't have much to say about that category. So back to this thread. So the Oscars don't exist to validate your personal favorites. If you loved a film or performance, that should be enough. Margot did get nominated for Barbie as producer. That's how she started on the film, and she talks about it much more than her performance. She has 2 prior acting nominations. Greta did get nominated for writing the film. She also is a prior nominee. Gosling did not get nominated over Margot because they were never being considered for the same category. Those of you saying that this is somehow the exact plot of Barbie clearly did not watch the film very closely. Besides Best Picture, every category only has 5 nominees. There's a lot of films and performances competing every year, and it's physically impossible for them all to be nominated, so inevitably someone's favorite always has to miss. The Academy is not a monolith. They're individuals who are voting for their personal favorite within their respective but separate branches. They don't make collective decisions on who to include or exclude and can be heavily influenced by studio campaigning. The individual branches can certainly be biased, hence, no more than one woman being nominated for Best Director in a given year, but that's a separate issue that's largely informed by their older membership. None of this is a conspiracy against Barbie specifically. To complain so loudly about the two blonde women who missed while ignoring the incredible work of first time nominees like Trier, Hooler, Lily Gladstone, Devoyan Joe Randolph, Kyoko Shibuya, if I'm saying that right, and America Ferrera is objectively a bad look. Even if they had been nominated, neither Gerwig nor Robbie was ever remotely likely to win. Nolan is all but guaranteed to win Best Director, while Best Actress is a dead heat between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. That's just how the Oscar race is going. Barbie was a landmark that was meant a lot of things to a lot of people, and that was wonderful. So don't be a sore winner and insist that the critically acclaimed box office juggernaut was somehow wronged because it got 8 nominations instead of 10. Life will go on. So he does make a point on all those points here. So that pretty much concludes this episode of Screen Talk. So let me know what you guys think of the nominations. Like, were there any that you're rooting for? What nominations you thought were snubbed or surprises? Let me know in the comments section. So that's all I have to share. Yeah, you can find my links in the description for my socials and all that stuff. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.